Hello everyone. Welcome to the second part of the budget presentation. Those second part is the inclusive development of for aspirational India. And in this inclusive development for aspirational India, the first topic which we are going to study today is the topic of agriculture. It's quite important topic and it's related to the rural India. So what is there in the agriculture in the budget? So the government has stated that they would be giving an MSP of at least 1.5%, 1.5 times the cost of production across all commodities. So uh, government has stated that whatever is your cost of production, so government would guarantee an MSP of at least 1.5 times of your incurred cost. Whereas the Swaminathan, what does the Swaminathan committee says? The recommendations of Swaminathan committee says that the MSP should be at least two times the cost of production. So still we are far away from giving this 2%, sorry, not 2%, the two times the cost of production. So now let's look into the details. So in agriculture, there is the micro irrigation fund has been doubled. So micro irrigation fund. So earlier it was of 5,000. So here you can see the micro irrigation fund. So this fund was given by NABARD. So earlier this fund was of 5,000. It has been doubled to 10,000 crores. So now looking to the payment of subsidies to the sorry, the payment of MSP to the farmers. So here it is a comparison chart. It says about the wheat. So in 2013-14, the MSP which the government paid, total MSP for wheat was around 34,000 crores. In 1920, it has almost been doubled to 63,000 crores. And in the year 2021, you can see that it is 75,000 crore. So it is quite huge if you compare this figure with the figures of 2013 and 14. Similarly, if you see for paddy, the MSP, the amount, the total amount under MSP was almost 64,000 crores, and which increased to, sorry, yeah. So I was talking about the paddy. So the paddy, the amount was increased from 64,000 crore to 1 lakh 40, almost 1 lakh 42,000 crore in the year 1920, and in the year 2021, this has been increased to 1 lakh almost 73,000 crore. So it has already been like three times of the whatever the government paid in 2013-14. So similarly for pulses, you can see that it is quite huge from 236 crore to almost 10,500 crores. So similarly for the cotton, you can see that the amount under MSP, minimum support price, which the government gave was only 90 crores, which is now around 26,000 as of 27 January 2021. So it is just before the presentation of the budget, this data was available. So what is more in the budget? So the budget also have one more scheme called the Swamitra scheme. So earlier this scheme was rolled out on a pilot basis only in few selected districts, and now this scheme would be rolled out throughout the country. So what is there in this scheme? So this scheme talks about, this scheme would give the record of rights uh, to the property owners. So earlier what had happened, the suppose you have an a land and here you have built some houses, or if you are staying here, or it may be a storehouse or something. So earlier in the village areas, the land belongs to you, you are the owner, but this house does not belong to you. So earlier, if government is acquiring this land, so uh, government used to give you money only for taking this land and not for this property which you had built on this land, on this piece of land. So now you can also get the property rights of such kind of, if you are making some building or if you have any property on that land, so the ownership, you will also get the ownership of this building. So similarly, moving on, uh, now talking about the agricultural credit. So the credit which is given to the farmers by, especially by the bank. So what is the target? So for the financial year 2022, that is the upcoming year, the target is rupees 16.5 lakhs crore. So you can see that this figure was around 15 lakh crore for the financial year 20, that means 2021, and it was, if you go back one more year, it was only 12 lakh crore for financial year 20, that means 2019-20. So from 12 this increased to 15, and now it is 16.5. So rural infrastructure development fund. So for the development of rural infrastructure, the fund which the government has allocated has been increased from 30 to 40,000 crore. And we also talked about the micro irrigation fund and NABARD, it has been doubled. There is one more scheme called as Operation Green. So it is also an important scheme. So earlier only three items were involved in Operation Green. It is TOP. So T stands for tomato, O stands for onion, and P stands for potato. So only three items were earlier included in the Operation Green, and now it has been enhanced to 22 perishable items. So why government brought out this scheme? To bring in price stability for these perishable items, because when lockdown was announced, the perishable items, vegetable, fruits, they were not, people were not able to transport it to places uh, from where it is being produced. So the prices of these commodities uh, fell sharply. So in order to give them a stable price, government brought out this scheme, Operation Green, so that the to keep a check on the price fluctuation, because we know that prices keep fluctuating, especially for tomato, onion, and potato. We have seen onion. The sometimes the farmer throw away their onion on the streets because there is, even they are not getting the amount which they have invested, and sometimes the onion prices, you have seen that even going beyond rupees 100. So just to protect people from the fluctuation of the price, the Operation Green was launched. Similarly, 1,000 more mandis will be integrated under ENAM scheme. So under ENAM scheme, farmer can sell their produce anywhere in the country. So now moving on to the fisheries sector. So for fisheries sector, government wants to develop five major fishing harbor in the country. So which are these five major fishing harbors? Kochi, Chennai, Visakhapatnam, Paradip, and Petua Ghat. So while studying for prelims, you can now locate these places in your map. So where is Kochi? You can see the map of India and you can find out where is Kochi, where is Chennai. So similarly, Visakhapatnam, Paradip, and Petua Ghat is in state of West Bengal. So you go and check your map and it would be beneficial for you. And similarly, government want to develop inland fishing harbor and fish landing centers along the banks of river and waterway. So to promote inland fishing as well as develop the overall fishing industry. The government also wants to set up a multi-purpose seaweed park in the state of Tamil Nadu to promote seaweed cultivation. So what is seaweed? So it's microalgae which are grown inside the water. So inside, as the name suggests, it is grown inside the sea. So what is the use of this seaweed? So it act as an input for cosmetic industry, also for some kind of fertilizer, and some people also say that if you eat some of the seaweeds, then it is also beneficial for your health. So seaweed has got its own relevance. So government wants to promote seaweed cultivation by developing a seaweed park. Now moving on to the next slide. Yeah. So here in this previous slide, I was talking about the MSP in the year 13-14, 19-20, 20-21. So in the next slide, we'll see the trend of MSP, because sometimes UPSC has a habit of asking questions from the trend. So they will ask like from last 5 year, what is the trend of MSP of a particular item. So we will be seeing, and here you can see that government has very cleverly compared the figures of 2013-14 with the current figure. So you can see that it is quite huge, only 33,000, 34,000. Now it has been increased to 75, two and a half times. Here you see the pulses 236 to 10,000, and again 63 to 172, almost three times. So now you can see the actual figure. So you can see here for 2013-14, government has compared the figure of 13-14 with 2021 and 1920. So if you see, let's suppose it is, take the case of wheat. In wheat, you see for 12-13, the price was, the MSP which government paid was around 49,000 crore. So from 49, the amount was already reduced to 34,000. And again, it was increased from 33 to 39. But still, this 39 was less than 49. So I was just trying to say that government has cleverly taken 13-14, so that you can see that there is a huge jump from this figure to subsequent this figure. So if you compare 50,000 from 75, so it is not very much. If you also it is 7 years. So if you consider inflation and everything, so this amount is not very much from 50,000 to 75. But if you take the figure of 33,000 from 75, it is almost two and a half times. So you have to similarly you have to see the trend. So sometimes UPSC have a habit of asking questions from trend. So you can see that the MSP paid was around 24,000. Then again it was increased to 3349. Then there was a decrease. So this is a decreased. Again it was increased. It was increased further. Again there was a decrease. Again it was increased, 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 and increased. So in last 5 years, you see that here the MSP paid in wheat has decreased. So it is not consistent. Sometimes it has increased, sometimes it has decreased. Similarly, if you can see in the case of paddy, you can see that from 52 to 58 there is an increase, then 65 increase, 63 there is again a decrease in MSP. Again it has increased, 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 increased. So there is one decrease. So if they ask that in last 1 decade, the MSP paid in the paddy has consistently increased, you can say that this statement is wrong, because here you can see in 13-14 the prices had decreased. Same is the case with the cotton. So here it has increased, then again it has drastically reduced. Again it has increased, and again here it has reduced. So you will find that the figures are not consistent. Consistently, it is not increasing or decreasing. Sometimes from here you can see that it has increased, and again here it has decreased. So there is mix of everything. In case of jute and in case of also pulses, if you can see in 12-13 the amount paid was 407 crore, and now the for 13-14 it has decreased to 235 crores. Again it has increased, and here it has again decreased. So you have to just see the trend. Those the trend says that the figures are not consistent. Sometimes it has increased, sometimes it has decreased. So you have to only remember the trend, and you don't have to remember the specific numbers in order to solve the questions in UPSC. So now let's see one or two questions from whatever we have studied. It is not, questions would not come directly, but something related to it. So as I said that you go and check this location of this port, where these ports are located, and agricultural credit, we talked about agricultural credit and the MSP in different different crops. So it is related, some of the questions are related to it. So yes, so this question talks about trend. Now I told that questions may be asked for trend. So what is this question? The growth rate of GDP has steadily increased in the last 5 years. This question was asked in UPSC prelims to 2011. So the growth rate of GDP has steadily increased in the last 5 years. So in last 5 years, you have to say that whether the growth rate of GDP has steadily increased. The growth rate in per capita income has steadily increased in the last 5 years. So see, here you don't have to remember the growth rate. what was the growth rate? You just have to remember the trend, whether the growth rate has steadily increased or growth rate has also decreased. So if you see the GDP growth rate from 2005 to 11, so it has not steadily increased. So it has decreased a bit around in 2000, around 2008 9, and again it has increased. So this statement question, the first statement is wrong, and the growth rate per capita income has steadily increased in the last 5 years. This was correct statement. So here the answer is only 2. So are you getting? So you have to just see the trend, because UPSC has a habit of asking questions from trend. Uh, Similarly, uh, I was talking about the agricultural credit in the previous slide. So again, one more question was asked in 2011. Which of the following have the highest share in the disbursement of credit to agriculture? So it says that who gives credit to agriculture, which has the highest share. So as we all know that commercial banks provide credit to the agriculture, and these are small banks, cooperative, regional, RRBs, and microfinance institution. Although they also provide the credit to agriculture, but the quantum, the amount of money or credit provided by commercial banks are huge. So the answer is A. So I said that you will not get a direct question, but a question related to whatever you have studied. So similarly, if you see this question, priority sector lending. So you have to remember that. So the question is priority sector lending by banks in India constitute lending to. So lending to agriculture comes under priority sector lending. Lending to micro and small enterprise also comes under priority sector lending. Lending to weaker sections also comes under priority sector lending. So you have to remember what is priority sector lending. So the answer is all of the above. We'll come later again with in this question after completing the agriculture related part of the budget presentation. Yeah. So moving on, the next item is migrant workers and laborers. So under this, government has planned one nation, one ration card scheme. So it is quite beneficial, especially for the migrant workers, because migrant workers have their families somewhere else. They go to different place to earn their living. So what benefit they will get? They can take that ration card. With that ration card itself, they'll get the benefits at a new place. So some portion of the benefits they'll get at the new place, and their family members back at the home would also get the rest of the amount. So it would be quite beneficial for them to get food grains at a very cheap price. The next is launch of a portal to collect relevant information on gig building and construction workers. So a portal would be launched which would capture the information related to gig workers, the building and construction workers. So gig workers are not a permanent employees. They work only on project to project basis. So this would help in formulating the health, housing, skill, insurance, credit, and food schemes for migrant workers. So if you have data, you can subsequently plan and formulate different schemes related to health, housing, skills, insurance for them. So if you have data, you can reach out to them, and you can also enhance your coverage of beneficiaries. The next item is implementation of 4 labor codes. So you know that the 4 labor bills were passed in the parliament, and now the government is enacting these codes, which would be probably applicable from the 1st of April. So you go and see what are the 4 labor codes. So one labor code is related to social security. The other one is related to wages. The third one is related to industrial relations, and fourth one is related to occupational health and safety. Health and safety. So you have to remember this. What are the 4 labor codes? Because several laws have been merged under the 4 labor codes. So now moving on. So what is there in the migrant worker and laborer? So as I said that one nation, one ration card implementation is underway, and already 32 states and union territories have been covered so far, and remaining 4 would be integrated in the next few months. A new portal, I told you, to collect the information on unorganized labor force, migrant workers, to help formulate schemes for them. So to target based approach to cover these workers who are out of the ambit of these social security schemes, and implementation of the four labor codes. There would be single registration and licensing and online returns to reduce compliance burden on employers. So on the employer's perspective, so these benefits, uh, the collection of the launch of portal and collection of information would definitely benefit the workers. So what is for the employers? So they would have a single registration and licensing, and they have to file that online returns. So it would reduce the compliance burden for them. Moving on, uh, the next head is financial inclusion. So under it, the government has reduced the margin money requirement for from 25% to 15% under Stand Up India scheme for SC/ST and women. So what is Stand Up India scheme? So all these terms you have to go and you have to Google it if you don't know. You have to see what is Stand Up India scheme. So Stand Up India scheme is uh, for every bank has to provide loan to at least one SC/ST or a woman entrepreneur for a greenfield project. So, greenfield project is basically you are coming up with a new project. So, every bank has to provide a loan ranging from 10 lakh to 1 crore to SC/ST or a woman. So, you go and see if you don't know about this scheme, you go and check what is this scheme. This is an important scheme. So, what has been done now? So, the margin money requirement has been reduced. So, what is this? So, earlier, suppose let's say if you are setting a processing plant, milk processing plant, let's say, and you required 1 crore. So, out of 1 crore, under this scheme, you will get financing for 75%. So, 75 lakh, the government, not the government, the bank would give you 75 lakh, and rest 25% you have to find out. It may be from a different scheme, or if you may also get some subsidy, and 10% of that money, that is 10 lakh, you have to fund on your own. So this is the margin requirement, as if 25% you have to collect this 25% amount from some other scheme, maybe some subsidy or on your own. So this has been reduced to 15%, so that it is easy, for people, especially for SC/ST and women, to set up a greenfield project, because this may create a 25% margin, may create a hurdle for them. So where will they get money from? 25, like 25% is huge. So similarly, they have included loans for activities allied to agriculture. So uh, loans would be given even for agriculture allied activities, like the food processing, or if you are setting up a cold storage chain for storing these agricultural items. Similarly, the support for MSME sector has been more than doubled to 15,700 crores for financial year 20 budget estimate. So support for MSME, you know that MSME employs a lot of people. So a lot of people are employed. So in order to support these MSME, government has doubled the amount to 15,000 crore. Similarly, if you look into some of the other miscellaneous schemes or provisions in this budget, so there is an agriculture infrastructure and development cess on specified goods. So on certain specified goods, government would uh, impose agriculture infrastructure and development cess. So there are the list is quite big. So I have picked only few items like gold, silver, apple, palm oil. So because these items we import generally. So from the custom charge, a certain amount would be given, would be collected as cess, and it would be spent on agriculture infrastructure and development. So it would be used for the development of agriculture infra. Similarly, for petrol and diesel, so government collect excise duty from petrol and diesel. So a portion of these excise duty would go to agri infra and development. Changes in basic custom duty for creating a level playing field for the benefit of farmers. So under this, what government has done, the custom duty which was charged if you are importing prawn, fish, cotton, so it has been slightly increased, so that to provide a level playing field for the people, those who are into the business of prawn, fish, cotton in the country itself. Similarly, 1,000 crore for the welfare of tea workers, especially women and children in Assam and West Bengal. So both the states, the elections are quite near in both the states. So to cater to it, 1,000 crore fund has been allocated for the welfare of tea workers. Especially women are involved as tea workers, and their conditions are uh, quite their conditions are not up to the mark. So in order to provide them certain benefits, this 1,000 crore welfare fund has been established. Now we'll move on to this the question part which we are dealing earlier. Yes. So I have talked about the priority sector lending. So all these consist under priority sector lending. So see, now moving on to this question. Among the agriculture commodities imported by India, which one of the following accounts for the highest imports in terms of value in last 5 years? So we know that we import various agricultural items. So you have to say that which item accounts for the highest import in terms of value. So you have to, when you see this budget or when you read this trend, you have to see that which items we are importing, which items we are exporting in agriculture. So in agriculture, so we import vegetable oil in large quantity. From you know that last year there was some issue related to uh, vegetable palm oil, especially palm oil, the in the country, and subsequently we import this vegetable oil from countries like Indonesia, Malaysia. So Malaysia, there was some controversy related to India, Malaysia. The Prime Minister of Malaysia has issued some statement which was not in our favor. So if you see that we import large amount of vegetable oil, so this was the highest, and so you have to go and see which are the items in the last 5 years which account for the highest import. So you will get the rankings if you Google it and if you search further. Similarly, moving on to this question, among the following, which one of the following is the largest exporter of rice in the world in the last 5 years? So you know that India is the largest exporter of rice. So you have to see that India is also a large. India grows large amount of rice and also export it. So India is the largest exporter of rice, and second largest is I think is Malaysia. So and the third is Vietnam. So the Mekong Ganga belt, if you see the map of South Asia, if you see the map of South Asia, although it is not a very correct map, but if you see the map of South Asia, so the Mekong Ganga belt, so this is India. The Mekong Ganga belt is very famous for the cultivation of rice, and India is the largest exporter of rice in the world. Similarly, this the first question: the economic cost of food grains to the FCI is minimum support price and bonus if paid to the farmers plus. So this is not a very easy question, although we study about MSP quite frequently. But still, I would say that it was one of the difficult question. So it says that what is the economic cost of the food grains which the government procures? So it is MSP plus any bonus which is paid to the farmer, and what it includes further. So further, it is there is transportation cost only. Yes, there is transportation cost, but is it only transportation cost? There is doubt in it. Similarly, interest cost only. So again, it's doubtful. Procurement, incidental, and distribution cost. So there is distribution cost when you procure food grains. You have to distribute it also. So the procurement incidentals are the prices which you give, which are incidental to procurement. So when you procure, you give the MSP, you give the amount to the your FCI go downs. So, but procurement incidentals are prices like you need these jute bags to carry those food grains. You need something more to to procure those items. So the extra amount of money which is required are called the procurement incidental to procure. So the money which are incidental to procurement, you can say that these are procurement incidental. Similarly, procurement incidental and charges for go down. So, and out of all these four options, this was the most appropriate option, because these two, you can say that this is we know that these are extreme statements. So chances, and you can, how can you say that only transportation cost is involved, there is no any other cost? So uh, among C and D, charges for go down you can neglect, because the go downs, the FCI go downs are owned by government. So from that point of view, you can say that the government does not pay any charges for it. So it is the most appropriate option, procurement incidental and distribution cost. So whenever you study the budget or anything, so like here I have talked about the trend analysis, and whenever you see the figure, don't remember this figure, just see the trend, because I have shown you how questions are asked related to trend in UPSC. And also you have to have a comprehensive coverage of anything you study. So yeah, thank you from my side.